Hello folks, this tutorial is going to help guide you through the initial steps required to administer the STAR CBM reading or the STAR CBM math assessments. In Burrillville in particular, this is what we are using in order to progress monitor our students. In particular with reading, it's K to 6, and with STAR CBM math, it's K to 3. To begin, I always start at my landing page here, and I will do reading just as the example here. I'll click on it, and I will select Record Book and Assessments, and select the subject, whether it is reading or math, the particular building that you are at, or where you're doing the assessment, and that particular teacher. At the bottom here, and I'm hiding the students' names just for privacy, it gives you the battery of tests that are appropriate for that grade level or for a range of grade levels. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to administer the letter sounds CBM test, and I'll click on that horizontal stoplight. It will say start or print assessment, and I'll go ahead and click on that. I'm then brought to a screen where, as the teacher, I can actually choose which way I would like to administer the same CBM. I have the choice to do it online, and the pictures do a pretty good job of telling you exactly what they do. And that means that the student will take it on the Chromebook or any other device, and the teacher will record the scores on their own device. The mixed format, which tends to be the most ideal, is that the students still get a physical piece of paper, but as the teacher, you are able to input the results as the child is reading it off of the paper. And there are 20 different forms, and each form is different for every child that you give the test. So in that case, it's usually really helpful to have a batch of them ready to go. And they're just single use. The children are just going to go ahead and read what their responses are, or in this case, what their letter sounds are. The last one is the print version, and so you have the option to print out the teacher score sheet, and the student will read from the piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and choose mixed format. So when I click on mixed format, you'll hit the next button, but one particular important thing to pay attention to is this is record the audio using teacher device. It will actually record what the student is saying in real time, so you are better able to diagnose what the child's strengths or what their gaps may be. So I'll go ahead and click on record and hit next. You'll then come up with a pop-up here that will ask you can either print the forms, you can just begin the assessment, or you can just assess it later. What's also really important to see is it will tell you which form to use for that child. So for example, here it says LS, which stands for letter sounds, and it will be form 16. So you'll go through the forms and you'll choose 16. So I'll hit begin assessment. You're then brought to a set of instructions on the left and a set of reminders on the right. These are pretty consistent test to test. If you do see a boldface style, those are the instructions that are explicitly read to the student. You do have the option to test your microphone, but I'm going to go ahead and begin the test. There is a 1-minute countdown that you will notice at the top of the screen, and as the student reads the letter sound to you, whether it is correct or it is incorrect, you'll mark it as such on the page. When you do come across an example, here would be an X and they do not pronounce it correctly, you'll go ahead and you'll click on it. As you proceed further and further down, you'll notice that the timer will eventually count down to 0. Once it reaches 0, it will ask you to click on the last item that this student did attempt. To illustrate this, I'll just say that this student finished at the R sound. And then you'll notice at the very top of the screen, you are able to click whether or not you administered this test in person or remotely. I'll select in person. Then you can also review the actual audio recording as well as write notes at the very top of the screen. I will click done. I'm brought back to the student record book page. You'll notice that it will say score pending for a few minutes. That is a-okay. You may have to refresh the browser once or twice. But I guarantee you will see the score written as correct words read or correct sounds produced per minute. That will show up on your whole class roster. You're also able to select details. You can review the actual sheet that you scored. You also have the option to delete the recording if you weren't satisfied with it. Also displayed is the student score and any notes that you may have taken. You may also click on Edit Scores and go back just in case there was a mistake made here or there. I will click Save. Now, from your main record book, if you go ahead and select an individual student, you will actually be able to see each activity they've done, whether it's the enterprise assessment or just a progress monitoring assessment. You'll see their score for that individual assessment. And then you will also see an Actions tab on the far right-hand side. By clicking on that, a drop-down menu will appear, and if you need to deactivate the test, which basically means delete it off of the student's record, you are able to deactivate it. So to wrap up this quick tutorial here, we went ahead and explored how to give a progress monitoring assessment or a STAR CBM test. In this case, we did it with reading. You're also able to do it in math. The process stays the same. Obviously, the tests are different. If you have any questions, please reach out. I hope this was helpful, and have a good day.